Welcome to the Navratri special episode of the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Corner Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Guardians of Ideas. Zeeshan A Khan on the future of intellectual property. A graduate of Hidayatullah National Law University, Raipur, and now a partner in the intellectual property practice at Luthra and Luthra Law Offices, India. Dishan brings over 15 years of experience in trademarks, copyright designs, licensing, and IP enforcement. His journey from a fresh associate to a partner at one of India's top law firms reflects not only legal acumen but also resilience, adaptability, and foresight. Today, as we sit down with him to explore his professional insights, his personal inspirations, and the stories that shaped his remarkable career, and we also come to know Jishan as a person. So, welcome, Jishan, to this special Navratri episode of the Coffee Corner Show.
Thank you. Thank you for that kind invitation, Amir, and thank you for your kind invitation. It's a pleasure to interact with you and discuss my personal experience here.
Wow. So, let me explain you. There'll be three rounds: professional journey, personal journey, and a surprise rapid fire round. We're in the hot seat, like you're at Coffee with Karan, and here's inspiration Legal AI 101. And for your information, Luthra is a client at Prime Infotech using Letter Compare and other tools, and doing coffee with a law firm where we are served. It's more memorable for us. So let's begin. Friend of mine, Amir Virani, host at Coffee Con Legal Tech Evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. So my first question, Jishan, how has the journey shaped up and what were the key defining moments you had?
Amir, the journey has been quite interesting till now. I'm the first lawyer in my family. So I was brought up in a family of civil servants.
Hmm.
All my family members were in government service. So when I was in my schooling, I never thought of becoming a lawyer. But the inspiration to pursue law came from a very senior family member that I will explain in due course. He actually guided me and persuaded me to pursue a career in law. And then on, it has been quite satisfying. Doing my schooling in Rajasthan, moving to HNLU, which was like almost 2,000 kilometer in Raipur, and then finally settling down and starting my law practice in 2009 in Delhi. It's been quite a roller coaster ride, but I would say equally satisfying.
Wow. So I'm a little curious since you're the first generation lawyer in your family. What made you select a niche area of IP?
Uh, to be very honest, when I went to HNLU, I did not had much idea about IP. So my initial interest in IP was developed during the IP course, a regular IP course, which is usually being taught to all the law students during their 5 year course. So we
Yes.
had a professor whom I very fondly recall today as well, and he is probably one of the main person because of whom I am the IP. I am what I am today, the IP lawyer. Professor V.K. Chaube, who was the IP professor at HNLU. So he used to teach us IP, and IP came very naturally to me. I don't know why. So I used to take very keen interest in his classes. I never missed any of his lectures. Uh, Even after the classes, I used to go discuss with him in his chamber, used to have very long discussions with him on the subject as a general. So he persuaded me that if you're really interested in IP, why don't you try interning with some IP firms during your 5 year tenure with the university, and then see from gradually from there on you can decide if you want to really build a career in IP. So from there on, I actually went ahead and interned with few IP law firms in Delhi, and that is kind of set the tone for the rest of my life.
Wow, beautiful. So I'd like to do coffee with your Professor Chauvey.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, how he's motivating and अपना ये guiding अपना making that impact as you did under him. So that will be interesting conversation. Okay, so
Absolutely.
Let's dive deep in conversation. Dishan, licensing and assignment often require balancing creative freedom with legal safeguards. What's your approach?
So, Amir, licensing and assignment actually involves protecting a right holder's right, and at the same time, there are commercial interests involved. IP is all about protecting the intellectual freedom of an individual, and at the same time, giving him the freedom to commercialize his work. So when me as an IP lawyer, when I draft a licensing or an assignment agreement, for me the most important criterias are that the scope of work is clearly defined, the term or the duration of the rights are clearly defined, royalties are mentioned, and that if there is any future dispute which you cannot completely overlook, that has also been clearly defined and structured in the agreement, so that every point is covered in the licensing and assignment agreement. When it comes to licensing, licensing is usually given for a particular time period. You do not completely transfer the ownership. So the clauses of a license agreement has to be drafted accordingly. But when it comes to assignment, because assignment is like complete transfer of your IP to a third party, which means you would no longer be the owner of your IP. So the clauses of an assignment agreement have to be clearly drafted. You have to keep your client's interest in check as well, and ensure that all the rights and liabilities of your client are properly transferred after he is being compensated for his work.
Wow. I'm a little curious on this topic. I'll connect with you later also. Like I did a coffee with in the industry of artisans. Uh, if there's something local artisans of India, they don't know about the IP thing. And if the designs are copyrighted and they want to give it for what do you say yeah, to different OEM manufacturers and earn royalty. Is it possible?
Absolutely. So, and that's where licensing comes into a picture. I would not suggest them to completely assign their rights to a third party, because in that case they would lose the ownership. I think licensing is a proper way to go about it. Licensing is, let's say, I have a right over a particular work. If I
Hmm.
talk about a musical work or a design, so I can and I want to give permission to a third party manufacturer to manufacture that particular design on my behalf, or for that matter he can manufacture on his behalf and sell it in the market. But for that to happen, he would require the permission from the original owner of that work, and that permission can be given by virtue of a license agreement. A license agreement is like you would clearly define that Mr. A is the owner of this intellectual property, and he is giving permission to Mr. B or the company B, whatever case it is. And there would be commercials involved, that Mr. B would pay Mr. A a certain amount of money for each product, and that the license will govern for a specific period of time. Checks and balances also have to be maintained, because the licensee is also required to maintain a minimum quality of standards as well. So there are
Hmm.
proper clauses that have to be included in license agreement. So, and the artisans can definitely give permission to third party manufacturers by giving licenses to these manufacturers to manufacture on their behalf, and obviously earn royalties out of it.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. So, Jishan, having worked extensively on enforcement, how do you balance legal rigor with commercial realities?
So, usually, Amir, what happens is IP is something that I would always suggest all business houses to protect. In some cases, I will not name the companies, but in some cases, the value of the intellectual property, the value of the trademark is much more than all physical assets and bank balances of the company. So if I talk about large MNCs, the value of their brand is much more than every other asset that the company owns. So it is always advisable to have a robust IP protection plan, and then the commercialization of that would follow.
Wow. Okay. So let's go to cross-border disputes in IP. How do you handle cross-border disputes in IP considering the differences in legal frameworks globally?
So, cross-border disputes usually involves multinational companies and parties who are doing businesses in different countries. Mostly, what happens is, majority of the countries are common law countries because most of us were British colonies earlier. So, majority of the countries are following common law countries. Laws would be more or less, IP laws I'm talking about, would be more or less similar with some changes, but at the same time there are international treaties, there are international organizations who are also taking care of intellectual property rights of various organizations like WIPO, who's doing very good work in this field.
Mhm.
uh, Also, if I am working in a foreign jurisdiction for one of my client, it is always advisable to also take on board a local advocate, a local counsel, because he would be the expert. Though I would say majority of the laws are almost similar but not identical, there are a few nuances, some small changes that can change the course of your legal proceedings, and that's why it is always advisable to take guidance and help of a local advocate in that particular jurisdiction. So whenever we go for any IP cross-border IP disputes, obviously there are international treaties and international organizations to fall back on, but we always ensure that we have a colleague from a foreign country who's expert in those laws, who's also accompanying it for the matter.
Wow. So, Jishan, what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced while protecting trademarks and copyrights in India?
Amir, the biggest challenge as of now with Indian businesses is the awareness of IP. Uh, what I have observed in 15, 16 years of my practice, as far as Indian businesses are concerned, they are not very IP savvy. And at the same time, they do not maintain proper records of their intellectual property rights.
Hmm.
Majority of the businesses in India, started as family businesses or small boutique startups. And probably when they started, they could not realize that protection of intellectual property would someday get such a, would get to such a big stage that they'll have to spend a lot of time and energy and money to protect this. Majority of the businesses in India were not getting their intellectual property registered with the relevant authorities, and at the same time they were also not very aware about the protection of their rights. They were not maintaining proper documents. So let's say even if the mark is a trademark is not registered, you could still have protected it provided the client could provide you extensive documentation showing that he's adopted and he has been using it for from a particular year. But in majority of cases, what happens is they neither have a registration nor proper maintenance of the documents to prove their cases in courts. So these days, whenever I've been invited in any IP seminars or IP gatherings, my first suggestion to all the business houses and right holders is that take immediate steps to register your intellectual property rights, because nowadays we have specialized acts and rules for all kinds of intellectual properties: trademark, patent, copyright, design. It is very important to file applications and register your intellectual property at the earliest. Also, only registration would not work. You will have to be very vigilant as far as your rights are concerned. Keep a check on the market, keep taking action, and at the same time also maintain proper records and documents to show that you have been utilizing your intellectual property continuously since the day of your adoption.
Wow. Okay. Let's go to the hot topic, AI. With AI gen content and digital innovation on the rise, how do you see IP law evolving in the next decade, especially in India?
AI and IP are very interesting at this stage. It is a developing field. It's a gray area as of now. When I say gray area, the acts, the Intellectual Property Rights Acts, which were all drafted and formulated in 1960s, 1990s, and early 2000s, obviously did not had any provision for AI. But it's a fast developing field. If I talk about an image generated by an individual using an AI, the problem today is who would be called the owner of that work. Whether it's the individual who developed the AI app, or that app, or the final user who has given the commands and prompts and created that image. That is a gray area that still has to be adjudicated, deliberated upon. But I'm sure with the pace the AI is growing, disputes are bound to happen, and in the near future, we're going to have some clarity from the courts on this point as well.
Wow. So recently there was an article on personality rights where now celebrities are taking judicial recourse. But in that article, it was mentioned a common man can also protect his personality rights. So how does a common man go about, according to you?
So, Amir, personality rights are not only meant for celebrities. It's not that only Karan Johar or Abhishek Bachchan can go to the court and protect their personality rights. Tomorrow, let's say if someone starts using my photograph, or for that matter, your photograph on their t-shirts, on their mugs, or for any other commercial utilization of our personal information, which for which we have not given our consent, any individual can definitely approach the court. To these days, this is a era wherein Personal Data Protection Act is also being formulated and is coming into
Hmm.
effect very soon. So any individual who has not given consent for utilization of his personal information, his photographs, his signatures, obviously can take action, can send legal notices, and approach the court for protection of their personality rights.
Wow, beautiful. So, what's been the memorable case? I'm dividing in two parts. For enforcement and for your IP protection.
Uh, I have actually handled a lot of cases in my last 15, 16 years of practice. To single out any particular case would be very difficult for me. But I clearly remember one case for which, we were protecting the name of a school. I would not name the client,
Hmm.
but it is one of the very reputed schools in Delhi. And parents usually would want to get their children admitted in that school because of the reputation and the kind of education the school was providing from last 20-25 years. Some organization randomly started a new school using an almost similar name,
Hmm.
and definitely the students were getting confused. There were inquiry emails from the parents to my client asking whether you have come up with a second school within the premises of Delhi. And at that point of time, the client came to us. We went to the court, filed a case against that school. The name of my school, again, in this case, was not registered. There was no trademark registration. But fortunately, we were able to convince the court that it is such a well-known name that even a unregistered trademark in this case ought to be protected. And we also explained the general public's interest, the students getting confused. Unfortunately, we got a favorable order. It was approximately 10 years back, but this is some case which had a very personal satisfaction in my career.
Wow, beautiful. Okay. So, Dishan, during your leadership roles at Rahul Chaudhary and Partners and now at Luthra and Luthra, what lessons in management and mentorship stand out for you?
Uh, I mean, legal profession, it's something wherein mentorship means a lot.
Yep.
Uh, Getting a degree from law school and actually starting your law practice are poles apart. So, when a fresh law graduate enters the practice during the initial formative years, I think it is very important to have proper mentorship. I was very fortunate to work under some IP stalwarts during my tenure with Rahul Chaudhary and Partners. They actually sat down with me during my formative years, told me how to prepare a brief, how to draft, how to prepare a robust IP strategy for your clients, and give them proper advice. So this is very important to have proper mentorship during the initial years. I still follow advices given by my mentors. There are few IP stalwarts, I would say the heavyweights of IP bar in Delhi. I constantly seek advice and support and guidance from them, keep meeting them. Apart from work, I generally meet them, observe them, and see how they behave, how they go ahead with their cases, prepare their files. That is one aspect of mentorship. Now, since I've also stepped into the management role, I'm managing a team, a partner, IP partner with a firm here. So I think managing a team these days is very different with
Mm.
the kind of Gen Z freshers we are getting into the legal field now, as compared to freshers in my age 15 years back. The freshers these days look for more freedom, more acknowledgement in their work. So I have given a flexibility to everyone in my team. There is no hard and fast rule of everyone reaching office on time and staying for 9-10 hours in the office and completing everything. I've given them complete freedom. They all know their assignments have to be completed. There are deadlines that have to be met. Client expectations have to be fulfilled. As far as that is being done, I am very happy with wherever my team is working from, and according to their convenience.
Wow, beautiful. So, my last question for your professional journey round: what advice would you give to young lawyers who aspire to build a career in niche practice area like IP?
As you rightly pointed out, it's actually a very niche area. And if there's someone who's genuinely interested in IP, I would say that interest these days should start during the initial years of your law degree.
Hmm.
Because now we have entered into this is actually a time of specialization wherein lawyers are getting into all the specialized fields. So if someone, let's say a student who is genuinely interested in IP, I would say decide your interest very early. Pursue internships with good IP firms. It may be boutique IP firms or IP teams of full service law firms. Go work with them, see how the functioning of the IP team is. If that really interests you, probably then you can take it forward from there on. These days, law schools are offering honor subjects as well. So if you're really interested in IP, please pursue your honors in IP, because doing honors in a particular subject give you that additional expertise. Teachers would give you, would teach you that subject for a good 1 year, 1.5 year at a stretch, explain the concepts to you in a better way. So that is going to help you in future when you enter the profession.
Wow, beautiful. So let's go to next round and understand Jishan as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
As I told you in the beginning, Amir, I'm the first lawyer in my family. Uh, I come from a family of civil servants. Majority of my family members have been in the government service throughout their life. My father was a government service, was in government service. Uh, my grandfather actually was the director of education department in Rajasthan government. But he was very keen in law. So, despite being from a non legal background, he himself went ahead and argued some civil cases which he was pursuing personally for himself. So, and I've never seen him engaging a lawyer during his legal fight of his civil cases in the Jodhpur District Court and thereon from in the Rajasthan High Court. He actually wanted to be a lawyer, but he couldn't for some reasons. So when I was in my plus two, he persuaded me and he guided me to pursue law. He had some friends in the Rajasthan judiciary as well. He knew some judges of the Rajasthan High Court. So he would often take me along with him whenever he was going to have a coffee with his friends who were in judiciary. He would take me along. I would simply sit there and observe those people. And finally, when I completed my plus two, he told me that, this is the field you should pursue. This is something which is very interesting. And then he got me enrolled in a coaching center which was preparing us for. We did not have CLAT back then, so all the national law schools were taking their individual entrance exams. So I got enrolled in the coaching center for preparation for the entrance exam for all the law schools, and then finally got through HNLU.
Wow. So, uh, I'm a little curious. Why did you go to Hidayatullah National Law University and what are your memories, experiences?
Uh, why did I go to Hidayatullah National University? I wrote their exam. I actually sat for exam for 3, 4 national schools. Got through few of them. HNLU at that point of time, though it was in its formative years, but had built a very good reputation that time. The vice chancellor, when I went to the university, was a very dynamic personality. So that somehow shaped my decision to pursue law from HNLU, though it was quite far away from my residence, almost 2,000 kilometers. But then I decided to go there. I would say joining HNLU was one of the best decisions of my life. HNLU shaped the personality, the lawyer that I am today. When I went to HNLU, I was only the third batch. So the number of
Oh,
students were very less. We had a very small batch strength at that point of time. So there were hardly 150, 200 students in the entire university when I went there. Uh, but I would say it was a blessing in disguise. We were operating out of a makeshift campus at that point of time because the permanent campus of HNLU was still under construction. So the government allotted a makeshift government building from where we were operating. So we would get to it since it was a very small campus. You would interact with every student every single day. You would get to meet all your faculties. All your movements throughout the day were being noticed. But it was all blessing in disguise. We had fun. It contributed to a lot of learning because you got to interact with a lot of people very frequently.
wow. Okay. So, which is that hobby or interest which helps you to unwind and recharge?
Mostly two hobbies. I'm an avid reader, so I like reading books. I make sure that I'm reading at least 5 pages, 10 pages of a book every day, either in the morning before coming to the office or in the night before after going home. And second is spending time with my children. I have two little kids, so wherever I get time, I try and spend time with them, play with them at home. So that's something I usually cherish, and it helps me unwind from the legal rigors that we usually go through.
So, which is that book or movie which has left a lasting impact, and which is the book you're reading currently? So, I'm doing two parts.
uh, there are a lot of books, Amir. I'm usually very fond of reading autobiographies.
Mm.
So yeah, I've read autobiographies of Rahul Dravid. That was something I've read that book twice. I still
Wow.
have that book with me, and I'm planning to read it once again. Rahul Dravid is a personality that always has a high impression on me. So
Wow.
that is something I'm going to read once again. The book
Wow.
that I'm currently reading a book from Ms. Zia Modi, which talks about um, uh, famous judgments in last 70 years.
Wow. Beautiful. So, if your friends had to describe you in three words, what would it be?
That is very tricky. I'll say that I'm very hardworking and very honest to my friends.
Wow. So, which is that favorite family tradition or ritual you still cherish?
Amit, as I told you, I come from Rajasthan. So we always has had this habit of eating dinner together.
Mm.
Whenever my father would come back from work, because mornings would usually spend in rushing to our respective schools or workplaces. Elders would be rushing for their works, we would be rushing for our school. Afternoon, during the lunchtime, probably the elder members of the family would not be available to eat together, but dinners are something that we have always tried to have together. Keep screens far away from the family time, uh, and has tries and have dinner together. So that is something I've been trying to teach my children as well. My daughter these days have started this habit of waiting for me for the dinner. So she would call me around 8:30 in the night when I'm not back from the office and ask how long are you going to take, because I'm going to wait for you to have dinner together.
Wow.
That's something that we're trying to continue. I've learned this from my parents, from my grandparents. We have somehow continued with this. I'm trying to teach this to my children as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so I'll make you a little emotional. What message would you like to give to your children so when they grow up and whenever they're missing you, they'll watch this video from the coffee conversation.
My children will always have my back. That's what I'm gonna tell them. I want my children to be honest, to be good human being. Professional success would follow, but always remember that you need to be a good human being and honest towards whatever you're working. The rest,
Wow,
everything will follow.
beautiful. So my last one is a googly one. Describe Jishan in one line.
That's very tricky, Ame. Um, I'm very friendly and honest towards my friends.
Wow. So let's put you in the hot seat, the rapid fire round. Your favorite color.
Black.
You're a morning person or night owl?
I'm a morning person now.
Okay. Delhi winters or Delhi summers?
Daily winters, always.
Wow. Trademark or copyright?
My favorite subject is trademark. Obviously, copyright would also is something I would protect.
I know it. Courtroom debate or client counseling?
Courtroom debate is something that I always cherish.
Wow.
I'm a litigator at heart.
Uh, One word that defines your leadership style.
Freedom.
Best piece of advice received.
Best piece of advice that I've received from my seniors is to be honest towards your work.
Wow. Your go to comfort food.
My go-to comfort food is roti with some sort of mutton.
And your favorite Mughlai cuisine.
My Mughlai cuisine. I'm very fond of tandoori chicken.
Okay. Wow. The last one. Tea or coffee to recharge?
Coffee.
You're the
For
coffee
that
share.
matter, black coffee to be specific. Cheers.
Cheers. So, as a conversation with Jishan on this special episode of Navratri draws to a close, one theme becomes clear. His journey is not just about law, but about passion, persistence, and purpose. From navigating complex IP enforcement cases to mentoring young lawyers, Dishan's career reflects the future of legal practice where specialization, innovation, and human insights walk hand in hand. We thank him for inspiring the young lawyers out there, and we look forward to seeing how his leadership continues to shape the IP landscape in India and beyond. So, like that, there are 500 plus coffee speakers who have shared their inspiring professional personal journey. Watch, subscribe, and get be inspired by them. And we meet with another coffee speaker or cup of coffee. So, take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for your kind invitation and those kind words. It was fun interacting with you. Thank you so much.